Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a big one. We have our 8-inch Gladiator lift kit going in. We already have the long arms front and rear on Josh's JT. Currently sitting on a 5-inch with Fox shocks and everything else IRO. So we're going to be swapping in the 8-inch kit, which as far as we know is the largest lift kit for the Gladiator out there right now. So we're going to be putting in new 8-inch coil springs, and we're going to show you guys, because we get a lot of questions all the time with our long arm kits. If I want to change later to a different lift height, what do I have to change, and can the arms take it? Short answer, yes, the arms can take it, and we're going to show you what's got to get swapped out to do it properly. So we're going to start swapping in some springs. We got to do some sway bar links, ABS extensions for this one, and check our drive shafts, make sure we still got length there. So we're going to start with getting these installed, and then we'll move on to the next step with our shock. All right, so we've got our 8-inch lift springs installed. Now, it's not just throwing springs in. To get the correct lift height, we got to change a few things, we got to adjust a few things, and check a few things to make sure it's gonna work. For this one, we're going from 5 to 8, so we're gonna have a little bit of a shorter shock in it for now until we upgrade those to the correct length for the 8-inch kit. So initially, springs and shocks, bare minimum. If you jump heights like crazy, your shock lengths are going to be all wonky. You're either going to have way too much up travel and not enough droop, vice versa. But next thing we're going to check, this one still has ABS in it. So we installed an ABS extension. We still need to tie that up somehow. And we put longer brake lines in with the new drop bracket. So we got to bleed our brakes now. Moving down the axle here. The breather for this one looks okay, so we don't need to do anything with that. And we just unhooked up top where the cables were mounted into the frame rail to make sure we had no tension on our e-locker cable. We'll hook these up somewhere, make sure they're nice and stable. And then for our e-brake cables, we still have them mounted up in the frame rail like factory, and we put a spacer block in to lift up that mount and pull it back just a hair. So we're good on those there. We need to make an adjustment on our track bar because we went up 3 inches in lift height. So essentially that's going to slide the axle over at ride height. So we'll have to put it back down on the ground, pull some measurements, make sure you wobble it around and get the suspension to seat, and then pull measurements, unhook, twist if you have an adjustable track bar, which for this type of lift height you'll need it. Put it back down, recheck it, wobble it out again. Make sure you tighten everything down there. Good time to check all your flex joints and your poly bushings for your track bars. And then if you need to make some adjustments to your bump stops, I'm not sure what we're going to do with that just yet on this application, but just pay attention to it when you're lifting your vehicles higher. And I think that about covers the rear, other than just double check your pinion angle on your drive shafts. When you lift it, you may have to pitch that up. And by doing so, adjusting your adjustable control arms. You also may pull your axle forward a little bit if you lift it, so you may need to adjust that back a little bit as well. So a little more to it than just throwing springs in and throwing some longer shocks in. If you're just trail riding it, you don't really care about ripping out an ABS line, sure you can do that, but to do it properly, that's what we need to do. So we're going to drop this down. We're going to make sure our track bar is where we need it to center that axle. Bleed our brakes, and make the few little adjustments we need for the rear, and then we'll jump onto the front. All right, so we got our rear all figured out, adjusted our track bar, got our longer brake lines in, so we're good in the rear for now. Moving on to the front, got our 8-inch springs in. Again, you'll want the correct length supporting shocks for it. We're gonna need longer sway bar link ends, and we gotta check all of our wiring here. So this brake line right here, super tight, and our breather does not reach, so we're gonna have to extend our breather, put longer brake lines in the front. Our e-locker wiring is not too shabby. We're gonna have to adjust our track bar because going up it's gonna move the axle, and then we're also gonna have to make a few adjustments to our steering. Once we put this on the ground and get everything straight, that steering wheel is no longer gonna be straight, so we'll just hit our double adjuster here and make it straight again. So nothing too crazy there. Make sure your axle is where you want it in your wheel well, and then make the adjustments that you need to for your your caster angle and your pinion angle. So this one's going to be maxing out caster for our drive shaft. It's kind of a fine line you got to, on higher lift heights, you got to basically adjust to the most caster you can without getting vibration from your drive shaft. This lift height on this Gladiator, it's going to fall right around 3 degrees of caster. So you want the most caster you can without vibration from your drive shaft. So we're going to get some adjusting done here, get these longer brake lines in, fix our breather, get it down on the ground and see what we need to do to make adjustments, and then we'll jump back in. So something our engineers did when they were designing our 8-inch kit for the Gladiator, we did do an over axle track bar bracket, which was required above that 5-inch lift height, and we did do a drag link flip. So same parts, just got to flip that drag link, and we're still under the knuckle on our tie rod, and gave ourselves a new mount for our steering stabilizer. So nothing too crazy, but that's just due to the lift that we're actually going to in this Gladiator. So that's why this isn't painted, powdered, coated yet. That's still production. We're getting there, but hopefully get this kit on our website here very shortly after this video drops. So we're gonna start making some adjustments with our brake lines and stuff, and we'll be back shortly. So we just adjusted our control arms to make sure our axle is centered in the wheel well where we want, and we were adjusting our caster. We ended at 3 degrees caster, and we went as far as we could to get a good looking pinion angle. We're gonna have to go for a test drive to make sure we don't get any vibration out of that drive shaft, because again, essentially you want the most caster without vibration. Next, we're gonna adjust our track bar. Proper way to do this is take it into an alignment shop so they can put their big, clamps on and make sure that it's dead center to get it to the alignment shop. Or for a wheeling rig, what I do, I grab a straight edge, I make sure both my tires are straight, have equal pressure in them, and I run a straight edge on the inside of the tire. Make sure if you're on a dimple, make sure you're on a dimple up here. If you're in between, same up there. So I'm in between dimples, and I'm gonna pull off of the tower. I'm gonna adjust here, and I'm getting 3 1/4. We already did this on the other side, and we're right at about 3 1/4. For right now, that's close enough. When we're all dialed in and this is done, we'll take it into the alignment shop. But for a wheeling rig, that works perfect. So adjustments done on the track bar. Now we're gonna go for a drive, show you how far off the steering wheel is gonna be, make sure we don't have any driveline vibration, and make our adjustment when we get back on that drag link to center up the steering wheel, and we should be good to go. So it might be a little noisy. It's really windy out here right now, and now we're 8 inches of lift, so this thing's just a kite. But just to show you guys, I'm going as straight as I can right now. Steering wheel's clocked just a little bit, so we'll make that adjustment when we get back to the shop. I am feeling a little bit of vibration up front, so I'm thinking we're going to have to adjust that pinion angle again. So we're going to have to back our caster off of, a couple 0.2 degrees or so. Probably go for a drive again, see if we, lessen that vibration or if we can get rid of it completely. But we'll just have to figure that out once we adjust and go again. So we're headed back to the shop now. We'll get this centered, check over a couple other things, adjust that angle, and try it again. So we just got back into the shop. We pulled in as straight as we possibly could so that this is accurate for when you're going straight down the road. So now we're going to go down, hit our double adjuster on our drag link, and get this back to where we want it. May have to go for a drive again after we change our caster, check for vibration, make sure this is straight, and do it again if we have to. So we're going to make that adjustment now.
I'm having somebody watch the steering wheel.
So we just loosened up our pinch bolt. Now we're going to adjust our double adjuster here, so we'll have somebody sitting in the driver's seat watching the steering wheel, make sure I'm going the right way, and then get her centered, and then we'll snug everything back up, go for a test drive. All right, so we got our 8-inch long arm Glad kit fully installed on the road, ready to go. We got the other owner, JL long arms, 4-inch on 37s. This thing's a giant. As far as we know, tallest lift you can bolt in, ready to go for the Gladiator. Clears the 40s beautifully. This one's ready to hit the road, hit the trails, whatever you want to do. Both extremely capable. daily them, wheel them, whatever you guys want to do. So if you guys have any questions on either kit, any rig, give us a call, shoot me an email, like and subscribe, drop a comment, whatever you guys want to see next, just let me know. Thanks.